Hey guys, it's Darsin12 again, or better known as One Who Set Malicious on Pojo. This time we're starting a new gameplay video guide on Dark World. As you can see, I don't own a grapha map from the regional qualifiers. I've been forced to use this starter deck game map that looks pretty crappy. I actually had to go like 5 minutes to flat out with this. I have to like do this, but it's here, it's done. So, well, in this video, we're gonna be discussing the different monsters you can use in a Dark World deck. First, I'm gonna go through every single Dark World monster and say good things and bad things about each one. We're gonna start with the normal monsters from the archetype, which are these two right here. There's Zur and Reng, or Renge. Sorry, I really don't know how to pronounce that last one. Zur and Renge, they are level 4, and one has high defense, 2,100 defense, with Renge, and the other has 1,800 attacks, which is Zur. Honestly, these guys right now are not that playable. I could see these guys in the future. Somebody running Rescue Rabbit with these two in a Dark World deck, so they can summon diverse XYZ monsters. But aside from that, they right now are not that optimal right now to use. But I would save them. I would keep them like in a corner in a little box, so that when the verse exceeds come out like in end of this year or next year, you can try these guys out with Rescue Rabbit. But aside from that, that's about it for these guys. Then we have Braun. This guy is also level 4. He has 1,800 attack, and his effect is when he attacks you, if he inflicts damage, you can discard one card from your hand, which will be like a Dark World monster or another card. You will like to discard a Dark World monster, because otherwise you'll be losing advantage or losing a card. So make sure you discard a Dark World monster. But the thing is that since you're discarding it due to the effect of him, the Dark World monster's effect also activates, which is actually the point of this deck. The point of the objective you want with this deck is to discard your Dark World monsters so they can activate their effects. Now, Braun is not a Dark World monster that activates when you discard him. He's actually a means to discarding other Dark World monsters. I'm going to keep him here. I'm going to discuss him later. And then we have Scar. This is actually the last of the 4 Dark World monsters that don't have discard effects. And his effect is when he is destroyed by battle, you can search a level 4 or lower Dark World monster and put it to your hand. Really good when you're trying to filter through the deck, or searching for that key Dark World monster you want in your hand. You can use this guy. Now we start with the monsters that have effects when they are discarded. The first one, the most simple one, is Beige, Vanguard of Dark World. Beige has the most simple discard effect. Is when he's discarded, you special summon him to the field. This same effect is the reason why not many people look at the real power of Beige. Now, Beige is really actually one of the few Dark World monsters which is actually really good. And the fact is that later on we're going to discuss it when we get to our mighty overlord Grapha right here. But Beige has the possibility of doing 2 consecutive summons of Grapha in the same turn, due to being level 4. We'll discuss that later. I'm going to put him over here. Then we have Kaki, Guerrilla of Dark World, Guerrillero del Mundo Oscuro. And then Kaki is also very simple. When he's discarded, you destroy 1 monster on the field. Right? 1 monster. Yeah, 1 monster on the field. And honestly, he used to be like good before, like when Dark World started, but now we got better things, like Grapha right here. Like, yeah, but me. Yeah, let's just put him there. Then we got Gren, another card that just is not that good anymore, thanks to me. And yeah, he's basically the same as Khaki, but except he destroys spells or traps. We just leave him there. Now we got our Guru. This, I don't know why it says leader here. Leader means leader in English and Spanish, and it's supposed to be Guru, but whatever. This is a very interesting card, because when he is discarded, Ceruli goes to the opponent's side of the field. Now, what many people don't know about him is that when he's on the opponent's side of the field, he activates his effect, which is your opponent discards one card. Now, many people think, oh, well, your opponent is you, so you discard one card. No, your opponent is you. Yeah, you. Because where is Ceruli facing? It's facing towards you, right? So you are his opponent. So you discard one card. So what does that mean? That you can discard your Dark World monsters and activate their full effects, which I will discuss in a moment. Alright. Now we got two lords. The two generals of the Dark World army. They're silver and gold. Silver and gold. And these two have two effects. One activates just because he is discarded to the graveyard by a card effect, and the other activates when an opponent's effect discards him to the graveyard. In the case of gold and silver, the first effect is the same for both. When they're discarded, they are special summoned to the field. And when an opponent discards Silva, for example, when Silva hits the field, your opponent has to send two cards from his hand back to the bottom of the deck. In the case of gold, the opponent has to destroy two cards on the field. Or up to two cards. Really good. And then we got the Field Marshal of the Dark World Army, which is Rainbow. Or I really don't want to, it's just Rainbow, that's what his name means. It's Rainbow, or I really don't know how to spell that name. This Dark World monster is actually a really special case, because the only way you can bring this guy to the field through his effect is if an opponent discards this card. So if you get if Spirit Reaper hits this card, then he comes to the field and you can activate two different effects. Either you destroy all your opponent's monsters, or you destroy all your opponent's spells and traps. The thing is, it has an amazing effect, but it's just so hard to get this thing done. Maybe Ceruli makes it easier, but aside from that, it's just a pain to get off. So it's really not, honestly, it's not that recommended. But you can run him if you want, one. Then we got the following three cards are the key engine of the Dark World deck. The first one is Brow. Brow has been was one of the first Dark Worlds, and his effect is simple. When he's discarded by a card effect, you draw one card. When your opponent discards it, you draw two cards. This is basically our draw engine. Very important. You always run three. Then you got Snow. Snow is one of the newer Dark Worlds, and she is actually responsible for bringing consistency into this deck. Dark World is very infamous for not being consistent, and this thing was a blessing from heaven, or should I say hell. And Snow, her effect is when you discard it with a card effect, you look for any Dark World card, any card that has Dark World in its name, and you add it to your hand. And that includes spells and traps. And if an opponent discards it, you not only get to search any Dark World card you want, you get to choose a monster in their graveyard, in your opponent's graveyard, and you special summon it in defense position. Really cool. And finally, our Dragon Lord, our god, our deity, the one we have to bow down to. Yeah, Grafa, yeah. I got you, dude. Yeah, this guy is really important. He's actually a very powerful monster, in the sense that he's gonna always be coming back. Why? Because Grafa, when he's in the graveyard, you can special summon him from the graveyard by sending one Dark World monster you control back to your hand. So basically, you summon Snow, you pull it back to the hand, and you got a Grafa, 2,700 beater right there. And then the thing is, the cool thing about Grafa is that this special summon is not an effect. So they cannot negate it with some kind of like a divine wrath or something. And also cards like Doom Caliber Knight don't activate due to Grapha being summoned, because it's a summon condition, not an effect. That's actually something very important. And aside from that, when Grapha is discarded, you destroy one card your opponent controls, which is really good. That actually outclasses Khaki and Gren by far, because Khaki and Gren are limited to what they can. Like, one is monsters, one is spells and traps. This destroys anything, spells, traps, or monsters. And aside from that, when an opponent discards this card, you get to reveal one card in their hand, and if it's a monster, you special summon it to your side of the field. Really cool. Alright. We covered all. That's all for the Dark World cast. Now the following 3 cards are generic support that actually helps a lot in Dark World. The first one is Trance Archfiend. Trance Archfiend is the newest card we have received for Dark World support. It made its debut in Order of Chaos. And Trance Archfiend is a really, really nice card, and the best thing about it, it's common. And the thing is, Trance Archfiend has an effect of discarding a card from your hand, a Fiend monster. Now the thing is, since discarding a card from your hand, discarding a Fiend monster from your hand is an effect, it activates Dark World monsters. And to top it all off, when this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you get to search any Fiend monster you have in your banished zone, right? Let me make sure. It's Fiend. You can target any dark monster in your banished zone and return it to your hand. So you have a Dark World removed from play. This gets destroyed. You get it back to your hand. Really nice. And on top of that, when you discard a Fiend monster, it gains 500 attack. So it's a 2,000 beater. Very nice. Finally, we have Tour Guide from the Underworld. This card, honestly, the first thing I'm going to say, you get it if you can afford it, because right now it's more than $100. This tour guide is actually not mine. I have an entire playset here from a friend of mine that he lent it to me today. I was actually pretty nervous that he lent me like almost $400 in cards. But yeah, this card is really, if you can afford it, you get it. But it's an amazing card in Dark World. Her effect is when she is summoned, you can special summon another level 3 or lower Fiend monster from your deck. So that can be either a Sangan, which is always her partner in crime, another tour guide, or a Brow, one of our own Dark World monsters. And what's the cool thing about Tour Guide? Well, one of the most basic things in Dark World that the Dark World players do with Tour Guide is they summon Tour Guide, they special summon Brow from their deck, then they put Brow to the hand and special summon a Grapha, and you basically filter your deck. You made your deck thinner, and you got a 2,700 beater right there. Plus, you got another Fiend to go to the graveyard so you can feed one of the spells that I'm going to be talking in a minute. Alright, so that's it for now for monsters. That's it for the first video. The next video I'm going to be covering spells and spells and traps, and then I'm going to be following up with how does the deck play around, so you can get an idea of how you're going to play your Dark World deck. Okay? Alright, so that's it for video 1. I hope you liked it, and let's see you in the next video.